Hi, hope you're well. So if you could just tell me a bit about yourself, who you are, like your background and things.
Sure. Okay. So my name is Rae Piper, and I'm currently the co-artistic director of Chantry Dance Company. I'm also a freelance choreographer, and prior to that, I was working as a performer in many different fields of dance. Actually. My background in dance is actually quite varied. I started pretty much like many other people would have started, just at the local dance school, and I started off by learning ballet and modern dance and acrobatics and tap dance, which, to be fair, I was dreadful at. I very quickly fell in love with dancing, even tap. And it became something as a child that I just spent more and more of my time doing. And I think from a very, very early age, I actually felt that this was certainly the path for me. I was inspired certainly by my mother in that respect, because my mother is also a professional choreographer, and she was also a professional performer.
Yeah.
I suspect that rubbed off on me, not in a negative way. She was certainly not one of those pushy mums that was like, oh, you have to do dance. Far from it. In fact, she actually sent me to another dance school to start with, because she used to run her own dance school, and she sent me somewhere else because she felt it would be better for me to be trained by a different teacher.
Yeah.
I didn't last very long at that first dance school because I didn't like it very much. I remember actually saying to my mum, I want to come to your dance school, and she asked me why, and I said, well, because I think your dance school's better. I would have fun there. So she said, okay, that's all right. You can come to my dance school, but you have to understand that in the studio, I'm going to be your teacher, not your mum.
Yeah.
You have to respect that, and we have to find a relationship in the studio that's different to our relationship outside of the studio.
That's interesting, because you've done the same with your husband as well.
Absolutely, yes.
So you've learnt to be able to separate the two and co-unite them.
Yes, I was going to say, I think, yes, they are separate, but there is a degree of overlap that you still can't forget that somebody is your mum or somebody is your husband when you're working with them. And I think if you can manage that balance of the relationship carefully, the connection that you have with somebody on a personal level can actually benefit what you're doing on a work or an artistic level. It's just learning to keep things separate when they have to be separate.
Yeah.
So I learned under my mother. She was my teacher many years, and then I knew I wanted to pursue dance as a career, and I really wanted to train vocationally, but that was not to be. So I was a very academic person, and I was one of those types of people that sort of got all A's and all of that sort of thing. And my father had great plans for me to go on and be a lawyer, and so he persuaded me that I should be pursuing my studies. And so I did my A-levels, and I gained a place at Cambridge University at Pembroke College to read classics of all. That path it's just not something that I wanted to follow, so I had to find the my convictions to stand up for myself. And I said to my father about 2 weeks before I was supposed to go, so it was cutting it a little bit, but I said to him, you don't want to do this, I want to dance, so that's all I've ever wanted to do. So
good for you. It's hard. It's really hard with expectations on you to still speak your truth.
Yeah, it was very hard. I mean, I always had my mother's full support, but my father was he was a very difficult person, and he had a lot of problems. He was an alcoholic and had some other problems going on, so he responded very negatively to what I had to say. So much so that he actually basically threw me out of the house. He said, if you want to dance, that's fine, but you won't do it under my roof. So I said, fine, if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. So I moved off to London, and I lived in a hostel. It was actually run. You can't actually write this stuff, but
no.
I was living living in a
So-
hostel run by nuns trying to be a dancer.
By nuns. That's amazing. It's like Sister Act or something.
I remember Sister Rosalie very well. She's a woman. So I was up there at the age of 17 because like I said, I'd done my A-levels, but I was a year ahead of myself at school. But there was no opportunity really for me to pursue vocational training at that point because I was pretty much on my own.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that my mother supported me hugely, obviously there was this massive problem within the family with my dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it actually, as a result of my father's problems, the family actually ended up splitting up and all sorts of things. So my mother was able to support me, but only to
There's a lot going on.
So much as, I mean, the support that she provided, emotional and spiritual and artistic, is all that I would ever have hoped for.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's the other stuff, things like financial or material support, you can make that yourself. You can do that for yourself.
Yeah, it comes and goes. Yeah.
But actually, having somebody believe in you, especially such a strong woman like my mum.
So she really inspired you, being her. Yeah.
Because she did the same thing. When she was younger, she left home at 15 to work in the industry. So I've always had her as an incredible role model, and nothing's ever daunted her or stopped her. So, I've got this
lovely.
Picture of somebody to live up to, really.
Yeah.
Not to live up to, but to aspire to. Obviously, we are very different people, but
You do it in your own way.
So I just found myself in London, and I persevered with the auditions, and I had many auditions that were truly awful, and I didn't get anywhere. But then I got one, and I got a job, and once I got a job, I kept getting jobs.
That's
and
good.
I ended up working in lots of different things, which was very exciting. So,
And to be approached by Sadler's Wells is like amazing. Like,
well, that was much later on in my career. But performance-wise, I sort of worked in everything from ballet, opera, to cruise ships, to production shows, acrobatics.
wow, acrobatics as well. I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, I worked as an aerialist and a contortionist, which again is just part of my background in terms of having a varied training.
Your skill set is incredible. Your skill set is amazing.
Well, thank you. I think it's just, keeping open-minded and feeling that, any skill can be useful to you. And not sort of turning your face away to things. You want to turn your face towards things always. And
it brings out different aspects of your personality, performance quality, opinions for choreography. Yeah, just life. Yeah.
So I mean, that was pretty much sort of the performance side of my career. And then, once I met Paul, I was already starting to think about moving over more into choreography. I met Paul while I was performing in the West End, and he was working in, what was he doing? He was doing an opera at the time, and we'd both been working as choreographers as well as performers, but we were still primarily performers and secondary choreographers. Once we met each other, we were invited to create 5 pieces of work for Sadler's Wells as part of the Chinese calligraphy, music and dance concert.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was performed on the main stage. So this really was a very much pivotal moment for us both. And we both knew that choreography was something that we wanted to
do.
Make primary focus and have the performance support that rather than the other way around. And when this happened, it really just was that moment that everything sort of coalesced and came into focus. And there was a degree of accident about it.
As all things are, yeah.
So much as the Chinese Ministry of Culture, which is who we were working for, they didn't understand the concept of a freelance choreographer. So they kept on saying to us, okay, but what's your company called? Because we need to put your company in the program as the choreographers. And we were like, no, we don't have a company. It's just me and Paul. We're choreographers, and we have a group of dancers that we got together for your. And they said, no, you're a company. What? board, and they just couldn't get their heads around the fact that we weren't actually an established.
You bought a company.
So we had to invent a company name, and Chantry Dance Company was born in this moment. But pretty much after that, we decided, this has happened. Maybe it's happened for a reason. This feels like something we could pursue.
Yeah.
And it's a very good way of...
Very organic way of,
Yeah, an organic way of us exploring our artistic journey together. Because Paul and I really felt, that we're so on the same page artistically. But pretty much very quickly as the company grew, we realised that what we were aiming for, that our artistic mission was actually, it encompassed far more than just producing for education work as well, and also for outreach work. When we created work, we didn't just want to bring our work to people in a theatre. We felt that everybody, no matter where they are, should have access to dance.
That was accessible for everyone, yeah.
And, if there's a whole section of society that for various reasons can't come to the theatre, whether that's because they're in a hospital or a care home, if it's in part of the judicial system, perhaps in a prison, people have restrictions for many reasons, and so we felt it would be important that we should take our work to them.
Yeah.
Just focusing all the time on the theatres that people...
I think that's amazing, because you turned the gymnasium, say for example in a prison, into a theatre, so people could get involved, they could watch, and that's sometimes the first time they would have experienced anything like that, and really give them a new take on life for when they, after coming out of something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was the project you're mentioning there was one that we did in collaboration actually with a company called Pimlico Operas. It was their prisons project, and we went in to choreograph it for them. But we've used that model several times since, in the sense of taking either performance work or education work into prisons, using the space that they've got there and creating performance work in an unusual space. And the outcome, it's not so much about dance in itself or of itself, it's about what dance can do for those people who experience it. Whether that is simply to just give them the confidence to take part in something with a group of people rather than excluding themselves, or giving them the opportunity to explore something creatively that they've not experienced before, skills, confidence to put social skills and things like this, which I think are very important when you're thinking about rehabilitation and how to interact with people and build relationships. So, it doesn't matter at all what people do with dance. They may go on and carry on dancing, or they may not, or they may take it to a professional level, or they may not, but it's what dance can do for somebody, I think, within themselves, rather than necessarily seeing the outcome of we've produced, a ballet or something.
So with your company, I know we talked about that you're working on Dracula at the moment. So do you want to say a bit about that?
Sure, so Dracula is our 6th touring show. It's a full-length ballet. Yes, it's inspired by the Bram Stoker novel, but what we did was we have basically rewritten the story. So we decided to set the story in a cabaret club. So Dracula actually runs a cabaret club.
That's amazing. Obviously, why wouldn't he?
That's what I said. I said, if I were Dracula, where would I want to be? And the answer is inside a cabaret club. I wouldn't want to be in a house in Transylvania.
No.
That's far too. Let's go to a cabaret club in London. So we have rewritten it, and we've steampunk themed it as well, which is very exciting. So we have that sort of slightly anachronistic feel to everything, and things are quite fluid within the world that we're creating for Dracula and the characters. But we've also had a little think about the characters. And again, we've taken a little bit more fluidity to the characters. So, for example, Van Helsing is played by a woman in our production. Instead of Abraham Van Helsing, we've got Ava Van Helsing. there's no reason why she shouldn't be.
No, and I remember you mentioned as well that it matched the dancer who's going to be doing the role as well, that she was very strong.
Yes, we have this fabulous dancer called Alexandra Harris, she's been with Chantry Dance Company for several years now, and we've actually known her since she was training at Central School of Ballet, where we saw her workshop, and we loved her work then, and we've just carried on working with her ever since. But no, she's a wonderful dancer. She has a sense of ballon. She's very strong, very accurate. Her work's got great clarity, and she's just perfectly suited to be a vampire hunter. She's a fab actress as well. So, rather than just because it's originally written for a man, we thought, well, be brilliant as Van Helsing. Let's just change the characters to women. We can do that, so let's do it.
Exactly, and I think it's so important, especially like we said, times are changing in dance, to have like a bigger perspective with things, especially like with roles. And I know we're focusing on females, but it's in as a whole for everybody, so like to be able to have different roles and situations or stories or characters, and you can still have and honour the traditional and respect that, but there's like there's room for everybody. There's more than enough space and room for everyone to have their own version of whatever they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's very important to remember within the art world that there isn't a ceiling that says you can only have one version of Swan Lake. There's room for so many different types of production, so many different approaches to work, and I think it's important to keep art moving forward, and part of that, of course, is going to be related to equality of opportunity, and that's also tied in with the people who actually create work not feeling restricted into thinking, okay, look, we can only do a ballet that's for white females, for example.
Or the audience as well, because if you feed it back into the community, then those are the people who are seeing the shows, and there's new audiences now. We want to reach more people, so maybe if you talk a little bit about your integration, because I know you've got your company, you've done your educational side, and you're feeding it all into each other, which I think is amazing. So
yeah, so basically, as I said, the company started growing, and we were producing these touring works, and we realised very quickly that for both Paul and myself, it's very important to both of us that we feel like we're not just creating work that goes out there for consumption, that we're actually also putting something back into the dance world to bring up the next generation of dancers as well, and hopefully help them learn from what we've experienced and help them develop. So we started our education programs back in 2012, and we started with just a couple of associate programs that ran once a month, and now we have about 11 associate programs and a full-time diploma course which trains students from age 16 plus to go into the industry. So
that's amazing.
It's really grown, and what's very exciting for us is to see how the company and the school dovetail together. So, for example, our full-time students, they get to come and take company class with the company dancers. They work rehearsals. The students get involved with the company on tour, and they take on supporting ensemble roles. So they're getting the studio, but they're getting experiential learning as well. We have the diploma students has come into the company this year as an apprentice dancer. So we really are seeing this whole continuum happen now, which is very, very exciting for us.
That's amazing. I think it's really good. And like I mentioned the other day as well, even I know English National's new, they're making it a new building, so the school is with the company, and it all feeds into each other. And then you get to learn and experience from other people, and even to hear opinions and see somebody better. You can really mould your craft, And
absolutely, I think it's for younger dancers coming into the industry, they learn a lot from watching. As older ones, I'm not that old. I'm only 40, but they learn a lot from watching and observing how older dancers approach their work, how they work in class, how they continue to strive to develop themselves as artists and dancers, rather than, we don't sort of sit back on our laurels and think, well, we've made it this far. We'll just...
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think it's changing with age as well, because, we're healthier, people are looking after their bodies, training, and I think the whole concept of age is very fluid, more than it used to be, and it's really exciting to see that people are dancing longer, or they're taking on new ventures or doing more things within dance. And fair enough if obviously they want to go and teach, and that's like a traditional route for a dancer, which is really respectable, and there's some amazing teachers, especially in London. We're very lucky, but also to do like what you said, collaborations, and to use your education, like the fact that you've got a whole an accredited degree just brings in all of your talents from your dance and your academic side together, so you can create something more, something beautiful.
I think age, especially women at the moment, is important. We're starting to see a shift now. Traditionally, a woman's career in dance used to end pretty early. But now what we're seeing is that women can carry on to dance, even if they have had a family as well.
I was just about to say that, yeah.
Yeah, and, for us at Chantry, again, we don't feel that age should be a barrier or something that restricts you. So, for example, in our current production, we've got Shannon Parker dancing with us, who is a dancer who was previously principal. But she's not 21. She is an older dancer, and she's incredible. She's beautiful. She's stunning.
You have more artistry if you've lived life and you've got stories to tell, and to see someone's body move that has more experience is. I remember, I can't remember who it was dancing, but just to see the sculpture of their body and the way they moved, it was how they danced. It wasn't so much the steps and that, the emotion as well. I mean, you can't, that's the side of it that you can't teach, that you can only get through life experience.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get to the age of, for example, so I'm 40, so I'm certainly
still young
for a dancer. Thank you. Yeah, so a lot of people find it hard to believe that I'm 40 and still doing what I do. But
you look really young.
It's true that my body doesn't do some things that it would do when it was 19, but it does a heck of a lot else, which it didn't do when it was 19, in terms of how I now can relate to my work, how I can enter a characterized role and develop that role. You learn so much about yourself as a dancer as you become older, and I just think it's really important for women, men as well, that we don't say, okay, well look, I've reached the age of 30, that's it, I'm done. There's more.
It's changing the parameters, and when you look at it, you don't judge yourself from a 7-year-old and normal context and normal things in life, and it's learning not to compare, but just to change what you're looking at, and maybe go with what feels right for your body, and highlight those. A bit like in a lot of countries, age is seen as wise, and they're respected, and it's seen as a positive thing. So to look at what you can show, what you can promote, the qualities that you can give that other people wouldn't be able to give as easily, Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it's something that choreographers today, I would really hope that it's something that they can begin to embrace more, that, if you're presented with an older dancer who, okay, maybe they can't do 16 pirouettes with their leg up by their ear, why is that the be-all and end-all? If you work with an older dancer and find out what they've got to offer you, then you can create something that's just as beautiful, if not more beautiful.
And some dancers, like especially in the olden days, they used to dance a lot longer. I think it just depends, because obviously it depends on the schooling, whether you've been in a company that is quite grueling with schedule. Because if you overwork, obviously it doesn't matter how old you are, you're going to get run down quicker.
Your body is a machine. It's only going to take so much battering throughout its life.
Exactly, and
look after it.
So with everybody like now being more conscious, and we've learned a lot more about our bodies, about health. Like you've even got some people that are like even in their 80s doing a yoga headstand, which is incredible. So I'm really excited to see all the changes that's happening and where it's going to lead to. Yes,
absolutely. I think I'm just hoping that we're on the path towards a more equal industry and a more all-embracing industry. I would never want the quality of art that's being produced to drop or to be limited. But I think that there is so much that can be developed by becoming more embracing of the diversity that's out there. Instead of thinking, okay, dance is just for that 25-year-old white female on point dressed as a swan.
Exactly, yeah.
That's beautiful and that's wonderful, but that's not all that dance is.
Yeah. So if I ask you of a favourite motto or saying, and this ties in really nice with what you said the other day about one of the quotes that your husband uses about more.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's one of my favourite quotes, which he says a lot to the students, but I think it applies pretty much to everybody, is there's always more. And I think as a dancer, it's very important to think there is always more. And it's about there's more for you. There's more for you to discover. There's more for you to experience. There's more for you to find about yourself. And it becomes, if you think about things like that, if you think about things in that way of there's always more, you become less worried about competing with other people, and you're more focused on trying to get the most or the best out of whatever situation you're in. So whether that's discovering more about the choreography that you're trying to perform, discovering more about your technique, discovering more about the people that you're working with, it puts you in a more open-minded and a position where you become, I think, like
empowered.
A bit like
it's very empowering, because I know that as dancers we always know we can do better, we can be better, we can be more flexible, there's always that, and that's good to have motivation, but it can get negative as well. So to look at it from that perspective is beautiful, because if you think you can get more, then it's a lot healthier way of looking at things.
Yeah, it's not a question of I want to be the best, it's I just want to discover more. So yeah, you become very much like a sponge, just absorbing everything around you, which is
absorbing get loads of sponge.
Choreography as well. If you think, there's always more that we can learn from previous choreographers, from previous works.
Other people.
Intellectually curious about the world and our fantastic artistic heritage that we have. So, yeah.
That's good. Oh, thank you so much. So, thank you so much for letting me interview you. And, you'll be in London with Dracula. Do you want to say any of the details for that?
Yeah, sure. So we're going to be performing at Greenwich Theatre on Sunday, October the 14th. With Dracula, Welcome to Dees, featuring Shannon Parker and the rest of Chantry Dance Company. So please come and see us. We would love to see so many people there just to share our exciting new ballet with you guys. You can book at the theatre online or phone the box office. But October 14th at Greenwich Theatre.
Wow. That is lovely. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much.